I've got a couple of people saying we're not audible, but I think that's the Zoom settings, because I know that you can hear me and I can hear you. So put your questions in the Q&A box if you have questions for the professor. We'll get to those later in the session. We are recording this session, and you will get a follow-up email with a recording link and information about the bonus offer that we'll tell you about. And then if you would like a proof of attendance for this session, please put your name into the form that you'll see after you log off Zoom. How many years of experience do you have? That's our first question for the audience. I'm going to put up that poll. Answer in the poll, please. I'm going to leave this open for just another 5 seconds. And I will close the poll. And sharing the results. We have about 45% of our audience who are still studying for their degree. We have everyone else is in the workforce, including about a third who are fairly seasoned with more than 5 years experience. So let's move on. Just to let you know what the program today is going to be about, the session today is about you. You've already seen the first poll question. We'll be talking about blockchain and potential for careers in blockchain. We'll talk about the program a little bit, and then we will go over with you the bonus offer and how to get enrolled if it's something of interest to you. But this focus of this session is on blockchain technology and the careers. So let me introduce Simplilearn. We, as I said, are the delivery partner with IIT Kanpur. We're the world's leading boot camp for digital skills development, upskilling. 5 million professionals trained in over 150 countries. We deliver our programs anywhere that you can access your web browser. So we make upskilling available worldwide. We transform lives by empowering people with digital skills. So we're very proud to be the partner with IIT Kanpur. And here is Professor Shukla. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hi, so I am Professor Sandeep Shukla. I am a professor of computer science in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at the Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. Other than being a professor in this computer science department, I'm also running a number of research projects. So one of them is the National Blockchain Project, which is funded by the National Security Council under the Prime Minister's Office. And we have developed blockchain solutions for land records and blockchain solution for self-sovereign identity, for tokenized development rights, land development rights, and various other things in the world of blockchain. We also do a lot of research on finding how to analyze cryptocurrency crimes within cryptocurrency, and work with law enforcement on that. Also, in another role, I am also the coordinator for the Interdisciplinary Center for Cyber Security and Cyber Defense for Critical Infrastructure. I did my education long ago, before most of you were born, probably. In 97, I got my PhD, and 95 got my master's. from the State University of New York in the US.
Okay. Thank you, Professor. And so we're going to talk a little about careers in blockchain. And before we get started, I want to make sure that everybody understands blockchain beyond just the buzzword. So can you kind of give the basic primer on what blockchain is, why the technology is important?
Yeah, so blockchain is actually a special case of distributed ledger technology, or DLTs. And the idea is that if you have a trusted party, like for example, your bank, if you trust your bank, then you do transactions on your bank account, but all the transfer of money, deposit of money, withdrawal of money, all this information is kept by the trusted party, which is your bank, and you trust them to ensure that there is nothing wrong in the record keeping of the transactions that you make. Now, if you cannot trust a third party, which is like your bank, then what you can do is you can develop a system, which is the distributed ledger technology, by which you keep a distributed ledger. So what you do is that whatever transactions you do, you actually broadcast the transaction to everybody, and everybody keeps a copy of your transaction and keeps the ledger current, so that at any time, at any point, at any part of the system, information is available about your account, your transaction history, and also make sure that there is nothing wrong with the transaction history. Now, there is a trick to it, which is that if you are going to have all your transactions recorded, and it's not only you, I'm talking about everybody. So everybody wants to keep their transaction information and wants to make sure that the transactions are valid. That is, if you are making a transaction, you have the adequate amount of funds in your accounts, then you have to make sure that somebody validates all the transactions. Now, to validate a transaction, what you can do is that you can ask everybody to validate, and to validate your transaction, they have to look at your transaction history. And the issue is that how do you keep that transaction history? You can keep it in many different ways. One way is to keep them in the form of a blockchain. So in a blockchain, number of transactions which are done closely in time, they are actually put together in a block. And between two blocks, two subsequent blocks, there is a connection. The connection is by keeping the hash, cryptographic hash of the previous block in the next block. So there, by doing that, what you do is you are making sure that nobody can change your transaction history, because if they do, then the hash will change, and then all subsequent hashes need to be changed. So therefore, the data structure in which you keep your transactions, which is called the blockchain, has the property that you cannot easily change any information that has already been put into a block, and thereby ensuring the integrity, or ensuring the data integrity of the history of transactions. So that's what you're seeing in this picture. This picture has a lot more information than you probably need in the beginning. These blocks that you're seeing here, they're showing 3 consecutive blocks: block n plus 1, and block n plus 2. And as you can see that the block n minus 1's hash is in block n's hash is in block n plus 1, and block n plus 1's hash is in block n plus 2, and this goes on until the very latest block. And one more issue is that since everybody is trying to create this blockchain, and every copy of this blockchain has to be consistent, there is a concept called consensus. So in blockchain, there is a concept of consensus which is required in order to make sure that all the ledgers or all the blockchain copies are actually consistent with each other. And that's a pretty complex process. And that's where all the algorithms and all the distributed protocol in a blockchain that comes in making sure that the consensus is done securely and correctly, and all this information that's in the blockchain can be trusted because its integrity is beyond doubt.
Right. Thank you. And that's really the importance, is that you've got a way for everyone to access, everyone in your ecosystem to access the same information through the blockchain, but nobody can tamper with it, because, as you said, to go back to change any block would have to cause you to change pretty much every block, right?
Correct. All the subsequent blocks, yes.
Exactly. So that's the basic notion behind blockchain, and the applications go well beyond what we understand as Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, right? You had mentioned some of the other applications you developed for Indian state governments and for the Indian government. So what are some of the ways these things work?
Right. So so cryptocurrency was the original use of blockchain. So Bitcoin, in 2009, Bitcoin was introduced, and the idea was to create a currency, a digital currency that would be self-sufficient in the self-sufficient ecosystem, in which the currency will be created digitally within the blockchain, and all the transactions are accounted for by keeping the records of all the transactions within the blockchain. However, the properties that I have mentioned about blockchain, first is the data. Once the data is in the blockchain, it is very, very difficult to actually tamper with the data. So it's tamper resistant data. Second is that it is replicated. Because it is replicated, it is high availability and highly fault tolerant. So information that is in the blockchain can be accessed even if some of the servers or some of the nodes on which the blockchain or the ledger is maintained is down or has been compromised by cyber attack, etc. And therefore, people have started using the blockchain idea for many other places where we need to actually keep the data tamper-proof and keep the data highly available. And therefore, we have seen the use of these in, for example, keeping land registry records. Land registry, when you register a sale of a land or a purchase of a land, that data are usually in most places is kept in some centralized server, and it has been found that there has been compromise of that server, and therefore people have lost rights to their land, and therefore people have started seeing usage of blockchain in land registry record and other kind of registry records. You also see the information about supply chain. For example, if you are talking about COVID vaccine, as it comes from the supplier through various intermediaries all the way to the final point where the patients are administered, there has to be a temperature that has to be maintained for the vaccine. Otherwise, the vaccine becomes useless.
Right.
And how do you make sure that the vaccine has never been through an intermediary who did not keep the temperature and other conditions properly? So there has been usage of the industrial, the IoT, the Internet of Things devices, sensors, along with blockchain. And there are other applications of supply chain integrity. Like, for example, now supply chain are often compromised in software supply chain. So their supply chain integrity is another such application. Identity, like how do you identify people who do not have, for example, passport and other necessary birth certificate and other documents. People have used blockchain-based self-sovereign identity solutions there. So blockchain is not necessarily only about cryptocurrency, although cryptocurrency is one of the most prominent applications of blockchain. But if you look at cryptocurrency, it's mostly a speculation-based instrument, and it's kind of deviated from its original purpose. But other applications of blockchain, such as records of registration, identity, supply chain, and various other things, are actually taking shape and being used more and more. And we are expecting that there will be a rapid growth of adoption of blockchain technology in record keeping and enforcing contracts, enforcing supply chain integrity, this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and a couple of examples from how this transforms the world. One of the big problems in the United States that's been happening recently is that there are people who are committing real estate fraud. So somebody who owns a home may not realize that some bad actor has gone to the county recording office and recorded that the ownership of the home is transferred.
Right.
And the system for doing that in the United States, most places, is very archaic. So paperwork can be done without the homeowner even knowing. And so blockchain, and this is one of the applications that you have developed, blockchain for land title records is a way to prevent that kind of fraud and secure that chain of ownership. So that, and if you apply that example to supply chains in general, and the idea of making sure that what you're receiving is genuine and that it's fit for service, that's a huge thing. The other example I would show of that in the United States was a outbreak of foodborne illness from lettuce that was harvested from a farm that had poor hygiene. So the ability to trace the supply chain of everything that's in the produce section of your market back to where it came from and who handled it is vital for tracing these kinds of disease outbreaks and preventing them in the first place. So this is a way where, in ways we don't really think of, it's going to change our lives.
Right.
And the growth of the industry is phenomenal. I mean, the spending on blockchain technology is increasing, 67% annual compound rate, and that means that even if it's going to be at $40 billion US in 2025, it's going to be at 55, 60 billion dollars, well, 60 or 70 billion dollars the next year, and it's just continuing to grow. Is that consistent with what you're seeing in India?
Well, actually, there was a lot of investment going on in blockchain technology, along with some tokenization, what you call virtual assets, and also what is now being called the Web3 companies. We are seeing a lot of startups coming up in this field uh, due to the lack of clarity in terms of regulation by most governments. There is a little bit of damp in the process, but we expect that in a year or so, after the G20 summit in September, October this year, maybe some some clarity in terms of regulation in the G20 nations. Europe has already done some regulation in the form of MICA, but there are some issues there. But once that gets clarified, we expect to see even more rapid growth. So I think that in the last few months, there has been some sort of regulatory uncertainty. But use of blockchain for land record title, etc. There the regulatory uncertainty is not an issue. The issue is with respect to tokenization of assets and also how do you transfer tokenized assets and so on. There are some uncertainties there. But yeah, I mean, we are seeing quite a bit of excitement and quite a bit of interest by many companies, banks, and so on in this space. Yeah, so I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about blockchain is it's getting interest from I would say the popular culture, but also business culture, where you're seeing stories about blockchain as a field popping up in various news sources. So pretty much every week you're going to be seeing stories in business press or even the general press about something new in blockchain, right?
Yeah. So blockchain is pretty much in the news. We see the part of it is because of the cryptocurrency and what happens in the markets of cryptocurrency and also various issues that are related to cryptocurrency businesses and exchanges and so on. We see every time a new application adopts blockchain as an underlying technology, usually they become news because this is very novel and new way of doing things. And also usually when that happens, it is because some pain point has been indicated in centralized systems, and therefore the distributed ledger technology is being adopted. We see a lot of news related to blockchain and distributed ledger technology almost on a daily basis.
Yeah, and we all, of course, hear about the applications with cryptocurrency, but the other applications are beginning to creep in for these types of articles and news coverage. And here's a few quotes from people who are leaders in technology and industry. It's like the one from Adam Draper, who's a venture capitalist. Blockchain does one thing: it replaces third-party trust with mathematical proof that something happened. Right. So this is a way, as you said, that instead of putting your trust in a particular bank, you have kind of mathematically derived chain of custody of all of these transactions. Yes.
Yeah. So if you you have to either trust a trusted third party to keep data integrity for you, or you can actually create a structure, a system which is running protocol that has properties that guarantees the integrity of the data about your accounts and about your transaction or about your land titles and so on. So I think that there is, especially in countries where corruption is very high, there it is actually being seen as a technological solution to some of the corrupt practices that people have lost trust in the institutions, and therefore you basically replace the institutional trust by algorithms and protocols.
Yeah, that ties in with the next quote. The blockchain is a shift of power to the edges of the networks from these central institutions where you used to have to trust, in that last example, the bank.
Okay.
Now you have centers of trust moved out. And the next quote is reiterates what we said about the wide variety of applications for blockchain. So anything that's a supply chain, according to the CEO of IBM, anything that's a supply chain where things move by transactions or by chain of custody, it doesn't matter what it is, blockchain can help. So and that's echoed in the last quote also by Fidelity Investment. It's not just securities, it's not just cryptocurrency, it's pretty much everything.
Yeah. So the now a lot of these things are going to happen. Many of these things have not happened to the fullest extent yet. For example, if you look at Bitcoin, for example, even though we say that it is decentralized, actually the most of the cryptocurrency, more than 70% of the crypto Bitcoin is actually owned by about four entities, right? So the decentralization that is supposed to happen has not happened properly yet. So it is something that we can look forward to. But so some of these things that are said here are goals of a distributed ledger blockchain technology world. Doesn't mean that they have been achieved completely yet.
Thank you. We've got some good conversation going on in the chat. We did have a question from Sudarshan, and don't want to take it right now, but we'll take it in the Q&A and remind me of that. But thank you for those questions that are coming in. Please put your questions in the Q&A. That way we can track them more easily when we get to the Q&A. So some of these are skills, some of these are technologies, some of these are platforms, some of these are frameworks, but these are all things people need to understand and to have some experience with in order to be effective as blockchain professionals. Would you say this is a fairly comprehensive list?
Yeah, so in order to get some expertise in blockchain, you need to first understand a little bit about peer-to-peer network protocols. You need to understand what is hashing, what is public key cryptography, what is private key, what is public key. Then you have to also understand, how same data can be replicated across multiple different servers or different computers, and then keep them consistent. That is how do you achieve consensus. Once you understand that, then you have to also see how these ideas, these concepts are playing out in existing blockchain ecosystems. So normally you study Bitcoin. Any course in blockchain technology starts with these fundamentals, and then it goes into an application like Bitcoin. Understanding the Bitcoin, how the Bitcoin ecosystem and protocols work, gives you a very clear picture of what blockchain is all about. But Bitcoin, did not have the smart contracts or the way of running programs on top of the blockchain ecosystem. And therefore, Ethereum was created to actually have programmability more than Bitcoin programmability. And so Ethereum is the other one that needs to be studied very well to understand programming of smart contracts. And once you do that, you actually have more or less a very clear idea about what blockchain is about and what the data structure is and how programs execute on this data and in a distributed fashion and make sure that the program is transparently executed, etc. But one issue that might bother people in Bitcoin and Ethereum, etc., is that these are what we call public blockchains. So public blockchains have all the transaction data, the ledger, is available publicly, which means that people can see what is happening. Although there is an anonymity, pseudo-anonymity involved, but there are ways to actually, see through that anonymity, and privacy might be an issue. So many businesses, when they actually use blockchain technology for, running their business processes, they actually prefer to have private blockchains, and that's where Hyperledger comes in. Hyperledger is a private blockchain, enterprise blockchain technology. So in order, no blockchain course can actually avoid talking about private or enterprise blockchain, because that's where actual implementations happen outside cryptocurrency ecosystem. So so that's where you talk about Hyperledger, and then you talk about how to implement business workflows, and you have to know about networks and ledgers and data structure of the ledger and so on. So these are all at the least necessary. I mean, there is a lot more to blockchain technology than just this, but this is what you must know to actually get your career going in the blockchain industry.
Thank you. Appreciate that. There's different ways people can specialize within blockchain once they become proficient, once they have an understanding of those skills we just talked about. You can, and you and I have discussed this, you have the skills, you need to put in effort then to follow up with building projects, building out your portfolio of projects, and demonstrating how you use those skills. And as you do that, you can move from one role to another, right?
Yeah, so I think that it is very, very important to understand that doing a course like this or any other course on blockchain technology does not overnight make you a blockchain developer or blockchain expert. And also if you want to get employed in this sector, the organizations that hire blockchain developers or blockchain engineers or blockchain analysts, etc., they want to see not only your certificate that you have been certified by somebody like IIT Kanpur, that you have completed a curriculum, but also they want to see what kind of work you have done. And in order to showcase what you have done in this, what you have to do is that you have to create your own projects, during the course as well as after the course, and make them available on GitHub or some other place where you can give the links to your potential employers who can actually download your code and run it. You have to have a good documentation and README in the GitHub to actually tell the people how to install your system and run it and see how your code is working. They might also look at the code quality, etc. and then you will get good employment opportunity. Otherwise, what will happen is that this is a very sophisticated skill. So just having done a course does not give the confidence, does not give you the experience. You will get some experience because you will be doing projects in the course, or a master project in the course, or capstone project in the course. So you will get some exposure or experience, but that is not necessarily enough. You might be lucky, and somebody might and hope that you will learn on the job. But usually, it might require you to have put an extra effort to actually build a portfolio. It's like an artist, right? An artist
Yeah.
is not hired because he has finished an art course, but because he has to build a portfolio that he has to show, he has to showcase to actually get a job or get a commission. So
Yeah.
that's the idea that I want to mention here, because don't expect that just doing this will immediately get you a job.
Yeah. Once you do get into the field, you're able to move from development or engineering roles into other aspects. You can also move directly into things that aren't necessarily technological development, engineering development, but you can be analyst, project manager. You can understand how blockchain is applied in different industry sectors and consult in that direction. So there's opportunities for people with less of a technical background to
Mhm.
work in this field. Is that correct?
Yeah, but see, the issue is that the person with a less of a technical background will still has to go through the rite of passage, right? So they
Yes.
have to understand hashing. They have to understand public key crypto. They have to understand overall structure of a network system. They have to still understand the issue of data integrity. They have to understand why blockchain guarantees, or rather, make sure that data integrity is pretty much guaranteed, if not fully guaranteed, but 90%, 99% guaranteed, etc.
Yeah.
So I think that there's somebody who can actually go through the rite of passage and go through these concepts and ideas. They may not necessarily have to do the engineering or coding involved in the job of a blockchain developer. They might go then move towards legal consulting. As I said, that there are regulatory issues with respect to the blockchain technology, and lawyers are working in that field. There could be also project management jobs which do not necessarily require hands-on engineering or software development. But I think that if you have to go through a course like this, you have to, uh, you know, have the grit to actually go through the entire process.
Yeah. Because this type of training and experience with hands-on uh, techniques and tools is how you understand what the capability of the technology is, and how you can effectively, you know, consult with people about how to use it. Because if you don't have that background, um, you're just creating a fantasy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Um, so you take a look at Glassdoor, for example, and pull off some of the names of people who are companies that are hiring people for blockchain positions. You can see it covers a broad range, and then there's a lot of startups. Startups, as you and I have discussed, are looking for people who have a lot of experience because they don't have the um, uh,
The deep
broader,
pocket.
yeah, the
Mm.
deep pockets and the runway to be able to train
Mm.
people on the job. But
Yeah.
bigger organizations do. So
Right.
um, these are potential places to look for your initial employment in the career. again, recognizing that you're going to have to put in the work, even with a certificate in hand, to make sure that demonstrate that you have the skills and the initiative to develop your projects and that type of thing. But
Right.
is that a fair thing?
Yeah. Yeah. So these large companies like TCS, Infosys, Accenture, they have very large blockchain groups. So they and there is attrition there. So they hire in good numbers. Small companies, startups, they actually hire one to people. So they look for a high level of expertise. So depending on what your previous background is, how good you are in coding, for example, or how good you are in understand, in developing, end-to-end software, etc. You might be, you can build a portfolio towards being hired in startups that are doing very interesting application of blockchain technology, Web3, etc. But if you're looking for getting trained on the job, then large companies are better because their very large teams are already there. So you will be learning from colleagues who are more experienced than you. So that's based on how you go about it. How do you want to go about it? Of course, startups have a lot more to offer in terms of monetary benefits later on if they actually become very successful. But it is also risky. It may actually not work. For large companies, you will get salary and increments that will be that may not have high risk, but they may not have also high gain.
Yeah. So it depends on your appetite for entrepreneurial risk. Yes.
Right.
We talked about the skills, but these are the tools, um, different platforms, Bitcoin, you mentioned Ethereum, Hyperledger, and then other specialized tools or other extensions that in any new technology, there's the basic technology, and then somebody comes up with an idea. Well, if you could add this to it, it's going to be more effective. And then someone builds on that and builds on that. So these are some of the things that people will be exposed to in their career, right?
Yeah, so these are things that we actually cover in this course. But there is a lot more to blockchain technology. There is a lot more happening on a daily, weekly basis. New frameworks are coming up. New cryptocurrencies are being introduced. New languages for smart contract development are coming up. But just to build the base, we actually cover all these things in this course.
And it's important, as you mentioned, because everything is changing so quickly, you need to be agile and you need to keep in mind that you want to do ongoing education, ongoing skills development. I'm going to ask the next question in our series here. What is stopping you? And I know that everybody here is interested in blockchain as a career field. So I'm curious to know what's prevented you from taking a course of this type or training in this area up until now. What are the things that you've been looking for that you haven't found yet? So I'm going to leave this open for another 10 seconds. You can answer more than one reason. So please get your answers in, hit that submit button, and I will close the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so the biggest concern people have is finding a course that gives them practical experience, things that will go into their portfolio, as we discussed. And then finding a course that's comprehensive enough that it's going to give them a well-rounded background in blockchain and its applications. Thank you for sharing that with us. There we go. let's talk about this program for a little bit, Professor. This is the Professional Certification in Program and Blockchain from IIT Kanpur, delivered on the Simplilearn platform. And it's got the things that people said that they're looking for, which is a comprehensive industry-aligned curriculum. You designed this curriculum because of what companies have come to Institute and asked for, right?
Yeah, so this curriculum was designed to give you a very good fundamental understanding of blockchain technology, illustrated by cryptocurrency blockchains like Bitcoin. The idea of smart contracts and development of smart contracts to actually develop what we call decentralized applications. Through like Ethereum, then private blockchain and decentralized application development with Hyperledger. The ideas about basic concepts like cryptographic concepts and distributed computing concepts that are necessary for understanding blockchain technology and so on. And the curriculum is geared towards ensuring that somebody who has gone through the curriculum well and paid attention and did the projects and labs, etc., will be ready to actually learn as they encounter other versions of the blockchain technology that is coming up every day. New blockchain technologies coming up, new decentralized application coming up, new concepts, new ideas like how to enhance performance of blockchain using layer 2 blockchains, how to actually integrate the idea of web with the decentralized ledger technology. All these things are happening. It's a very happening field. Tokenization of assets and tokenization, token economy on the blockchain. So all these concepts are not possible to cover in 4-month curriculum, but our hope is that having this very strong fundamental base, people will be easily picking them up. So that's the idea.
Yeah, and it's all delivered online through the Simplilearn platform, which you can access anywhere you have a web browser, your desktop, your laptop. A lot of the materials you can use on even a mobile or a tablet to do some of the prep work by watching some of the pre-prepared video that complements the course. But the biggest thing is that you have an environment where you can do hands-on exercises and labs and develop Bitcoin applications using the various tools that we discussed right on the platform. So you don't need to create your own separate system at home. You don't need to download or build something. It's all available to you right there. So that lets people, that plus the online virtual classrooms where instructors take them through these exercises and answer questions and make the concepts clear. That gives people a chance to start work on that portfolio we talked about, right, Professor?
Right. Yeah. So building your own portfolio is very important, because otherwise you are not going to be able to show off what you have learned and what you are capable of. And this is very important that you build your portfolio, create your own applications, think about applications where blockchain is useful, and create small medium-sized applications.
And the other aspect of this is because it's delivered completely online, other than the live classes, which have to be held at a time where everybody joins, the rest of the work you can do independently. You can do it on your schedule. So platforms available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can log in at any time to do an exercise, build a project, that type of thing. And that becomes especially important in that final stage of this program, which is the capstone project, where you'll build your own independent solution to a given industry-based problem. So at the end of the process, you receive the certificate issued by IIT Kanpur. It certifies that you've completed the 70 hours or more of online learning and done the projects, including the capstone project, and you've done them to the satisfaction of IIT Kanpur. This is not just Simplilearn does the evaluation and we certify it. You have to deliver it to Professor Shukla's standards. So that plus the ability to take master classes and hear from faculty from IIT Kanpur about topics in blockchain. Those are conducted a lot of those classes yourself, right, Professor?
Right. So the master classes usually go beyond the curriculum and basically talks about more advanced topics, so that people know that what is beyond the basic fundamentals and what is happening in the blockchain world today. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, I want to reassure everyone we're getting close to the Q&A, so please hang on for that. And I just want to give the professor a chance to tell you about IIT Kanpur if you're not aware with it. It was established the same year I was born, so I find that's an interesting fact.
Yeah, just before COVID, we did our 60-year Diamond Jubilee celebration of IIT Kanpur. It's certainly older than I am, and so it is also one of the, actually IIT Kanpur was the first institute in India to introduce a computer science program and computer science degree program. And also it was the home of the first mainframe computer in India. We have had a very world-class facility in terms of computer science labs, and also we are India's biggest cybersecurity hub, cybersecurity research and blockchain research hub, and we of course run the national blockchain project. And yeah, so IIT Kanpur is well known in the field of computer science and in the field of cybersecurity, blockchain technology, and so on. So it's a good thing to have it on your resume.
Thank you. So for this particular program, you do have to have a bachelor's degree. It's good to have some experience. When we say you have to have a bachelor's degree, that means you have to have it in hand or have it awarded sometime before the end of the 4-month program, so that point to that. We'll verify that as part of your application process. It's good to have some work experience to understand where this kind of technology might fit into the world of work, and have that kind of discipline behind you. Do have to have a basic understanding of mathematics, and it's good if you also have some exposure to Java programming. So this is not necessarily the program for somebody who has zero technical background, but if you have a good understanding of college mathematics, and if you've had some experience with programming and concepts of programming, you should be able to succeed in the course. Is that correct, Professor?
Yeah, so some programming experience, some understanding of algebra and ideas of probability, etc., would help.
Okay. And talking about the just really briefly, I'm going to go through this. This is all of the things we talked about in terms of the different skills. Start off with an orientation session, an online session that gives you basic understanding of what you're going to be learning. how you're going to use this learning platform, where to find your classes, how to do your projects and turn them in, all of that. And then you move into the introduction, the fundamentals of blockchain and its original application, Bitcoin. Once you've got that, you can learn about Ethereum, correct,
Right.
Professor?
Yeah. So
that will go ahead.
Yeah. So Bitcoin has a very limited ability to create scripts to automate transactions, whereas in Ethereum you have a full-fledged programming language capability to automate transactions and create protocols of your own. So learning Ethereum is very important. Then, of course, consensus and hash are the basic concepts which might be covered even before than where it is placed in this diagram. And then you have the private blockchain, enterprise blockchain, Hyperledger. And then we talked about how to create smart contracts in Hyperledger and create decentralized applications. We also introduce a few other alternative blockchains like Corda and IOTA, just to give people an idea that how other types of blockchain platforms are coming up. And then rest is application development and also doing the capstone project.
And we list the master classes as electives, meaning that you don't have to take them in order to get your certificate, but they are included in the cost of the program, and they add so much interest and value that it would be wise to take all of those as part of the study. There's a few examples of the kinds of projects that you might do. You will do in the program smart contract development using Hyperledger Fabric and doing an example of how to set that up, creating an Ethereum wallet and that type of thing. So these are all practical exercises that go into that portfolio we've talked about, yes?
Yeah.
And Dr. Shukla, of course, is the program director. We heard about his background and you met him, so should give you confidence that this program will be done to the highest standard. What Simplilearn adds on top of that is our program manager who keeps track of the requirements that IIT Kanpur and the professors set for us. We have somebody assigned to work with you and the people who join the program at the same time you do, the cohort. So that person shepherds you through the program. There's also, of course, the instructors who are responsible for helping you succeed in each of the courses. And you have the support of your peers, the other members of your cohort, as well as the way the curriculum accompanying resources are designed. So all of these form essentially an ecosystem of support around you to help you succeed. And just to let you know that the learning environment allows you to manage your curriculum, see your full learning path and where you are on it. It gives you access to the live virtual classroom environment. It gives you access to the labs and projects, the development sandbox that lets you do these things online, lets you do your tests and assessments independently through the system, allows you to build your capstone project, and all along the way, it keeps track of your progress, gives you access to the proof of completion for each of the courses, and gives you prompts and makes available to you support tools, the help desk, the community billboard or bulletin board rather for questions and support. So all of these things are on that platform. Here are some of the learner reviews, and I will share with you the URL to our course page later. But Manshu and Ashwin and Akshat have all completed the program, used it to leverage both new jobs, salary hikes within their own environment. Akshat himself developed a new digital coin. So this is an example of how people who take the course and are willing to put in effort to build on those skills, develop their portfolio even beyond the course, can leverage it for success. A fair representation, Professor?
Yeah.
That's a short and sweet answer. I like that. One of the ways that we help you, so after you've completed the course, 4-month course, you have access for 6 months to job assist services through IAM Jobs. So as the professor said, this is not a job guarantee program. This is not a program where once you complete the certificate, you're going to automatically get an internship or a new job, but you will get access to services to help you rewrite your resume to reflect your new skills, to do one-on-one interview prep so that you can answer the questions ranging from the phone interview to the technical skills interviews to how to present yourself in management interviews, and then access to the job portal over that 6 months. And I'm going to ask the question, are you interested in joining this program? All right. And I'll leave this open for just another 3, 2, 1, and the poll. 70% of respondents are interested, which is great. Just want to make sure you get to see that. And so we'll talk briefly about the enrollment steps. The first enrollment, sure, got the right sequence. The first enrollment step you need to know is the cost. The program cost is 1,69,000 rupee. That's including tax. It can be EMI financed, 5,751 rupee per month. And you can reach out to us and ask us at simplylearn.net to find out what the bonus offer. We will offer you a discount for attending this webinar. They haven't told me what it is, but usually a very attractive discount. And learning consultant that ask us at simplylearn.net can help you with that. We'll also be sending a follow-up email, more contact information, and a link to this recording, so you'll be able to contact us that way. And our next cohort will start soon, so you email us at askus@simplylearn.net. We'll do an application review, verify that you have the bachelor's degree requirement fulfilled, do an assessment of your basic math and programming skills, and based on that, we'll offer you admission if you qualify, and you can start as soon as this weekend. The classes for the next cohort start at 8 July, and if you take advantage of that and enroll for this weekend, you will be able to take advantage of the discount. So we like to remind people that we can only have a certain number of people in each cohort in order for the instructors to provide sufficient time and attention to each person in the class. We try to limit the cohorts to about 25 or 30 individuals. And so if you are interested, I think more than that number of people on this webinar have said they're interested. So please hurry. Please do contact us right away. And just to get a feeling for that, I'm going to ask one more poll question here. I believe it's our last poll question of the day, which is, how soon would you like to join if you're interested? Is this something you'd like to do for the July classes? Are you looking maybe August, September, or are you looking further down the road? And I'll leave this open again for 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. And so some of you are interested in getting started this week. Please do reach out to us right away. And if you're looking at within 3 months, also do that, because you'll want to make sure you get a place in the August, September cohorts. If you're looking further down the road, I still suggest that you email us and we can keep in touch with you, keep you advised of future cohorts of the program, and answer any final questions you might have. So I'm going to stop that. We'll move on. And it's time for questions and answers. So I'm going to stop sharing screen here. Very good. Thank you for that. So Professor, we've got a number of questions that have come in. I'm going to take them out of the questions and answers first, and then we'll look back through the chat. So we have a question about English language instruction. The course is delivered in English, is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
But you do have to have good comprehension skills for English. Fresher who's worked on Golang, is that going to help them in this?
Yeah, so Golang is used in Hyperledger smart contracts or chain code. So in Hyperledger, it will help. But having had any programming experience would help in general. So yes, if you have done Golang programming, certainly that will be helpful.
We have a question. Somebody wants to compare blockchain data structure to a linked list data structure. And my understanding is that blockchain is a form of linked list with a particular twist in terms of the hashing linking.
Yeah. Well, in linked list, actually the link is actually to an address. Here, the link is to a hash. And therefore, the linked list is actually talking about an address in memory. You basically point to an address in memory where the another node is located. Here, you are basically giving a unique identity by taking hash of a block instead of an address of the block. The identity of the block is being pointed to. So in some sense, it is a linked list, but it is quite different in nature.
Okay. Somebody asks if blockchain can be used to create websites, and I guess that brings up the related question of its role in Web3.
Yes. So, well, to create a website, you don't need blockchain, because blockchain is about keeping track of data. So the front end of the blockchain, front end of the websites, whether it's Web3 or not, will be still based on JavaScript and React.js and whatnot. But what may happen is in the back end, what we normally now do is we normally the backend processing the data that is fetched through the web front end is usually in a server. So instead, it could be decentralized. It could be in the form of blockchain, and also in the Web3. That is the idea, that the data is, instead of having all your data with Facebook or Google, you will actually have your data with you, and through some kind of tokenization, your data can be actually fetched by users from your machines rather than from Facebook server or Google server, and that would give us a decentralization. Also, it will give us sovereignty on our own data that currently we don't have, because we have to give the rights to our data, our music or our videos or pictures to Facebook or other centralized platforms. So
Right.
that's what Web3 is all about, that decentralized web.
Yep. Thank you for that. Is CBDC related to blockchain? I think that is
Yes.
self-evident.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So CBDC is basically tokenization of money.
Yeah.
So it's a digitalization of money. So blockchain technology is good infrastructure on which such tokenization and movement of the token can play out.
We had several questions about non-crypto use cases, and you've mentioned several of those. Can you just remind people a few of those?
Yeah, so any place where you cannot, you do not want a centralized entity to keep your data, or you do not trust a centralized entity to make sure that your data is not tampered with, then you can use, you can develop a blockchain-based system. For example, as I said, that land title registry or land record registry, instead of keeping it in a centralized server, you may want to keep it in a blockchain, so you have higher level of transparency and higher guarantee of data integrity, so that no tampering is evident in case there is a tampering. Same thing with the supply chain, or same thing with any kind of record keeping practices, or any kind of identity, like for example, you may not want Aadhaar database to keep all your data, all your fingerprints and everything. You may want to have sovereignty on that data. So you then, in that case, you may want to create a decentralized application for identity creation. So those are the kind of applications that people are using.
Okay, thank you for that. We had a specific question. Can you think of applications for blockchain in space science?
Well, not as such, except that if you think about supply chain in space science, not so much in the space science as a space technology. So when you are building a mission for, let's say, a mission to Mars or mission to Moon, there is a lot of software components that are developed by many contractors and many other third parties. And if there is a compromise in one of the components, it could actually jeopardize the mission. So keeping track of the provenance of the supply chain through blockchain could help there. So in that sense, it's a technology support, not necessarily space science.
Yeah, the general problem of counterfeit parts in aerospace plagued the industry for many, many years. And if you have a substandard bolt that goes into an aircraft or a spacecraft and it fails at the wrong moment, the consequences can be catastrophic. So there's a really high value to that supply chain integrity problem. Is AI going to affect blockchain?
Yes, it will affect blockchain in many ways. For example, in some good ways and in some bad ways. For example, right now, some of the generative AI is able to generate some code, smart contracts. It can also help you to, find mistakes or vulnerabilities in smart contracts through generative AI. So that's one good application where it can be used. But on the other hand, you can also use generative AI to actually create malicious code that may go into, attacking a decentralized application. So it will be, in many ways, it may affect blockchain. Also, through the generative AI, Yeah, you can also do blockchain education. You can affect blockchain education through generative AI. So yeah, I mean, AI will affect many things. Blockchain will also not remain unscathed from advances in
I think one aspect is that AI has no impact on the fundamental technology of
AI.
hash link blocks,
Right.
but everything else around it. There's a whole thing,
Yeah.
the whole ecosystem. When somebody had a interesting question, when you do a transaction with a digital currency, there's a transaction fee. Who gets that?
Oh, so the one that actually eventually leads to the consensus by actually creating the next block, or what we call miners, they
Okay.
actually collect the fees. Yeah.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, do you view cryptocurrency as a real alternative to government issued currencies, or an alternative that governments can turn to, or is it a speculative investment?
Well, it depends on who you ask. I believe it is a speculative investment instrument. That's why the U.S. Government, the Security and Exchange Commission, is coming after crypto companies, exchanges, for dealing with unregistered securities. This is a big controversial topic. I do not see cryptocurrency being an alternative to government issued currency because it's not tenable.
Right.
Governments will not want that because one of the major function of any government is to actually ensuring financial stability in the economy of the country.
Yep.
And if it totally goes out of the hands of the government, then it will have no ability to ensure that there is financial stability, there is control over inflation and so on and so forth. So I do not see that in the near future any government will allow that. A few very badly government countries have done that, like El Salvador,
Yeah.
but better countries will not do that.
It's difficult. Would you say it's difficult to use a cryptocurrency in an environment where the government needs to be able to control the volume of currency, the money supply,
Yeah.
at will? So it's not really conducive to crypto, is it? Um, Here's a question from Elisha, who asks, how can blockchain get implemented in an electrical area? So I think that's a great question for you with your background in cybersecurity of infrastructure. How do those two things work together?
Yeah, so first of all, a lot of the concepts used by blockchain technology are actually originated from cybersecurity, like cryptography, hashes, and things like that. Second thing is that a blockchain ecosystem requires a lot of computers, network connection, and protocols, and therefore they are subject to cyber attacks. They can be like any other application, software-based application, server-based application, desktop, workstation-based applications. They actually are subject to cyber attacks, and that could actually completely change the properties of the blockchain. For example, the consensus process, the consensus algorithm may be attacked, and the blockchain may not maintain the data integrity in case of a severe cyber attack. So that's one thing. So in some sense, like any other large scale system, digital system, blockchain is also subject to cyber attacks and require protection against cyber attack. But on the other side, if you want to ensure cybersecurity of things, like, for example, software supply chain, there the blockchain becomes the rescuer rather than being the consumer of the cybersecurity protections and cybersecurity defense mechanisms, that the blockchain technology may actually be used to keep the hashes and stuff like that to make sure that there is no supply chain contamination. Similarly, keeping logs safe from manipulation by attackers. Blockchain technology might be useful. There may be other places where blockchain technology might be useful in ensuring that your malware repository has not been compromised. So there are many places where blockchain ecosystem requires cybersecurity, and cybersecurity may actually use blockchain technology for doing things better and easier than it could be without blockchain.
Okay. I think that takes us to the end of our questions. We had some questions about alternative or education resources, how people can get some of the basic information about blockchain through pre-courses and things like that. And I do want to point out that Simplilearn offers some basic free individual courses, but they're also self-study. They're all on simple topics. And if you're looking to start a career in blockchain, you're going to have to go beyond the free courses that you would take, things you would find on YouTube, and you're going to need to have a curriculum that's delivered with expert instructors and with the ability to do your projects, build your portfolio online, because otherwise you'll have some basic conceptual understanding, but you aren't going to have the hands-on practical experience that you'll need to build out, start a career. So with that, I'm going to go to the end of the program, and I will go back to this last slide. So this is the time where I'm going to share with you the link to our website and to our email address. And this is also the time where I want to thank Professor Shukla for being here today, being so very generous with your time and your knowledge.
Thank you.
In the chat or through the QR code, you'll be able to get to the program page on our website. You also can reach out to us at askus@simplilearn.net. When you exit the webinar, you'll have the opportunity to put your name in for a proof of attendance for today's session. And we hope that we can welcome you all into the learning community with IIT Kanpur and Simplilearn. And we thank you all for being here today and taking the time out of your day, your evening, to be with us. So thanks again. And that concludes our webinar.
Thank you.
Bye now.